as we are talking about improvements in the technology for using conventional sources of energy, let us study another type of energy, which is wind energy. In Standard 9, we have learned that unequal heating of the landmass and water bodies by solar radiation generates air movement and causes wind to blow. Now, when wind is blowing, it has kinetic energy, right? So this kinetic energy of the wind can be used to do work. This energy was harnessed by the windmills in the past to do mechanical work. So in earlier days, people were using this movement of air for doing mechanical work. For example, in a water lifting pump, the rotatory motion of windmill was utilized to lift water from a well. So this way they were using in the past. Nowadays, wind energy is also used to generate electricity. This is the main thing that nowadays we are using windmills to generate electricity. A windmill essentially consists of a structure similar to a large electric fan that is erected at some height on a rigid support. On the screen, you can see that it is a figure of windmill, which is similar in structure like an electric fan, which is erected at some height, and it is on rigid support. What actually happens with this windmills? To generate electricity, the rotatory motion of the windmill is used to turn the turbine of the electric generator. Now, in previous session, we have already learned about turbine and generator, right? Now, you can see there are the blades of windmills. So, what happens when there is a movement in air? So, the kinetic energy of this wind will be used, and when the wind blows, with that the blades of the windmills will rotate. As the blades of windmill rotates, what will happen? It will help to turn the turbine of electric generator, and the generator will produce electricity. The output of a single windmill is quite small. We all know that when the wind blows with one windmill, the output can be very small, right? And it cannot be used for commercial purposes because it will be very small in less quantity. Therefore, a number of windmills are erected over a large area. If you have seen windmill farms, you can observe that there are a number of windmills in a farm, and it uses a large area. So when many windmills are erected over a large area is known as windmill farm, or we can say that wind energy farm. The energy output of each windmill in a farm is coupled together to get electricity on a commercial scale. So when one windmill is used, the output is very small, so that when we can keep many windmills together, it can create a large output, and it can be coupled together, means it can be joined together and can be used for commercial purposes. Now here you need to note that the kinetic energy of wind is used. We have already talked about hydropower plant, right? Recall that there the potential energy is converted into kinetic energy, and then it generates electricity, right, in terms of water. Here also you need to remember that kinetic energy of wind is used because when the air is blowing it has kinetic energy. Okay, so remember that for wind energy kinetic energy is involved, and for hydropower plants what is used? Potential energy and kinetic energy of water is used. So this is what how wind energy is created. Let us look at some of the advantages of wind energy. Wind energy is an environment friendly and it is efficient source of renewable energy. It is environment friendly. How? Because it does not cause any pollution. It does not harm the environment anyway. Okay, so this is environment friendly as well as it is efficient source of renewable energy. As we all know that it is not like that once we have used the wind for generating electricity it will get over, next time we will not get wind. Okay, it is not like that, right? So we can generate electricity by wind whenever the wind blows, right? So it is efficient source of renewable energy. It does not require recurring expenses for the production of electricity. Okay, so it will not cost many expenses for production of electricity. There are disadvantages associated with wind energy. Let us see it. First, wind energy farms can be established only at those places where wind blows for the greater part of a year. This is very much important and it is the point to keep in mind because it is not like that anywhere we can put this windmills and we can generate electricity. If you think to put it in between of two house, it cannot be, right? There the greater wind cannot be achieved. So we have to search an area where over the year, whole year, there will be a greater amount of wind. Okay, so that is the disadvantage. Also, the wind speed should also be higher than 15 km per hour to maintain the required speed of the turbine. We know that when the wind blows, the blades of the windmill will rotate and will be helpful to turn the turbine. That is why there is a limit to maintain the turbine. What it is, wind speed should be more than 15 km per hour. The next is establishment of wind energy farms requires large area of land. As I said, if you keep one windmill, it will not be enough to generate electricity. So we need to establish wind farm, and in wind farm there will be many windmills. So to prepare this wind energy farms will require large area of land. So it will affect agricultural land as well as human habitation. For 1 megawatt generator, the farm needs about 2 hectares of land. So think how much area will it need. Another disadvantage it is that the initial cost of establishment of the farm is quite high. But once it is established, there will be less cost for production of electricity. So remember, one is advantage that it will require less expenses for generating electricity. On the other hand, to produce this windmill farms, that requires a high cost. Also, the blades and the towers. They are exposed to rain, sun, storm, cyclone. So, in this way, they can be damaged. That is why they need a high level of maintenance. So, this all are disadvantages. So, we can see that as we have searched out improvements in the technology for using conventional sources of energy, on one side they have improvements, they have advantages, on the other hand they have disadvantages too. So this is all about wind energy.